How much of the person you are today did you actually choose? I don't mean your age or your name or where you grew up. What I mean is the things that you want, the things you're working towards, the person you're trying to become. How much of that did you choose? Because I call myself asking this recently. Well, I'm making YouTube video because I want to learn how to speak. I want to learn how to communicate better. And I simply just want to build something. But then I had this weird thought. Did I actually come up with this idea myself? I mean, I probably heard somewhere that recording yourself more frequently increase your communication skills. And so I liked the idea and I decided to keep it. I decided to use it as my own. And now here I am making videos because of it. And that's when I started wondering, how many things in our lives started the same way? How many things do I want because I genuinely chose them? And how many things did I actually hear, observe, and eventually call them my own? I think this happens way more often than we realize. I think it starts with something much deeper than social media. Let's say you're broke, you need money. Eventually, you start looking for ways you can actually make some money. You ask people, you search online, you watch videos, and eventually someone gives you an answer. Start a business. So you do. At first, it's just an idea that you decided to try. But now you have a business and suddenly you have different set of problems. How do I get customers? How do I make more sales? What should I change? So you start watching more business video. You ask people, you read books, and so you just try different ways to actually get the results that you want. One person says you need a better offer, so you change it. Someone else says you need to post every day, so you start posting every day. Someone tells you to run ads, you run ads. And before you have realized it, you have gone deeper and deeper into an idea that you didn't even come up with in the first place. And you know the crazy part is, at some point, you stop thinking, where did the idea actually come from? You just start thinking, what do I need to do to make this work? And this is where it gets much harder to question yourself because you've already invested in it. Maybe you spent 6 months building the business. Holy shit, maybe you spent money, like the only money that you have, you spend it all on a business. You've learned about it, you sacrificed a lot for it, you've told people about it. So imagine someone just comes along and says, maybe this isn't the thing that you actually want. You're probably going to tell them to fuck off because at this point, you're not just defending a business. You're defending all the time and effort you actually put in it. And this is where I think something changes. At the beginning, the question was, do I actually want this? But now you have invested a lot into it. So the question becomes, how do I make this work? And those are two completely different questions. You stop questioning the path and actually start optimizing it. Become so focused on making the decision work that you stop to ask whether it was the right decision for you in the first place. And this just doesn't happen in business. It happens in almost everything. Maybe you chose a career because everyone around you told you that it was good. For example, right now, people are saying you should learn cybersecurity and software engineering and because they make a lot of money. And so people are joining into that just because they heard about it. People don't actually sit down and choose, is this what they want? Maybe you just want to be rich and you've been told your whole life success people have money. Maybe you just started going to the gym because you just want to be healthy. You want to be fit just because someone online told you that you're not gonna get any girl if you're fat, if you're thin, if you're obese. You're not gonna get any girl and no one is going to like you. And so you start going to the gym in order to change yourself. Maybe you wake up at 5, you journal, you read books, and you call yourself disciplined. And again, none of the things are necessarily bad. That's what makes this so difficult. You can build a perfect, respectable life from ideas that you actually didn't even, sit down and question it in the first place. It can happen. You can be very successful from the idea that you didn't even know that you have them. You can have good habits, good goals, a good career, and still have no idea why you want any of them. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped asking, why do I want this? And started asking, how do I become better at this? And the better you become at something, the harder it becomes to question whether you should be doing this at all. And that's where this started bothering me. Maybe becoming someone you don't like doesn't happen because you made one terrible decision. Maybe it happened through hundreds of completely reasonable decisions that you never stop to question. I think that's the scary part, because you don't wake up one morning and you start acting completely different. You don't just become different at that moment. It takes time. It's much quieter than that. You hear an idea, you try it. It seems to work, so you keep going. You get rewarded for it. So you do more of it. Then you build your life around it. And after some time, you don't even remember that there was a point where you could actually say no. You just think, this is who I am. And maybe that's why it's so difficult to know whether you're actually living as yourself. Because what does yourself even mean? On so much on what you believe, want, and value came from somewhere else. Your parents gave you some ideas. Your friends gave you some. The internet gave you some. The people you admire gave you some. The circumstances gave you some. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's impossible not to be influenced. The problem is when you stop noticing you're actually being influenced, which is fucked up because most of the time you won't even know that you're being influenced. You can like something and you'll be like, you don't even know why you like it. You're being influenced. What do you actually do with that? I don't think the answer is to reject everything you've learned and just go search for the perfect version of yourself. It's impossible because every idea that you have came somewhere. The clothes you like, the career you admire, the thing you value, even the way you define success. You were exposed to them somewhere. Being influenced isn't the problem. The problem is never checking what you have accepted. But maybe once in a while, you need to stop optimizing your life and trying to seek different ways you can actually improve it. Maybe the thing that you need is to actually question it. And that's what the self-improvement podcast that you listen to, the video that you watch, don't tell you. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Where did I get this idea from? Do I actually want this? Or do I actually want what I think what this will actually make me? And maybe the hardest question is, okay, I need to stop moving. I'm everywhere. I can be here. I can be here too. I can be there. There. What happened? Yeah, I can be here. But anyways, maybe the hardest question is, if I had to start over today, knowing everything I know now, would I choose this again? Because if the answer is yes, then good. At least now you're choosing it consciously. And if the answer is no, that doesn't mean you need to throw your entire life away tomorrow. It means you have actually found something worth questioning. Because maybe the goal isn't to figure out who the real you is. Maybe there isn't perfect version of you hiding somewhere waiting to be discovered. Maybe the goal is simply to become aware on what's shaping you. To notice the idea you've accepted, the people you're copying, the goals you're chasing. Maybe once in a while start asking yourself, do I actually choose this? Because you probably cannot control every idea that enters in your head. That's impossible. If anyone tells you that you can, well, they're lying, they're gay. No one can do that. You can't control what parents teach you, what your friends believe, what you see online, or what your circumstances force you to deal with. But you can decide which idea gets to become your life. And maybe that's how you quietly stop becoming someone you don't like. Not by becoming completely independent from everyone else, because you can't do that. That's impossible. But by actually becoming conscious on what you're actually choosing. I hope this video helps you. And just know this. You have the power to do whatever you want. I'm not trying to sound motivational here, but everything that happens to you is your fault. Well, before you go, like the video, subscribe. Peace.